I eventually managed to get some longer videos by streaming, because my phone only allowed me to make like 2-3 minute videos, etc. Which meant having to sort of, try and catch interesting moments that I would observe if I observed them and if they were happening while I was there. And it's not always easy to catch them, and sometimes kind of spider gets scared and stops or whatever. Also getting focus, trying to keep the camera close, and while if you're streaming, on the other hand, you can just leave the camera there and eventually edit later what you want, which is what I did. And here you can see the garden spider. I caught a big fly, and yes, I did electrify it with a tennis racket and chucked it in there, and she was, I think it's a she as well, because I don't see any pom-poms on her pedipalps. She's feeding on it, and they sort of tried and made, I think she made another spider notice that there were other 3 garden spiders. One got eaten in this jar. They're smaller than her, but a smaller one approached the fly first, and then she went and fed on it, and there's this hole from which she's sort of inserting her jaws inside, and apparently just sucking out everything from that protuberance, entrance, or whatever you want to call it. I apologize for the format. I was trying to, for reasons, it was easier for me to hold or keep the phone at first still with in vertical mode, but I figured it out later on anyways. But here she's also webbing the prey, which is obviously dead, but you can see her picking up the web from her, what did we call those? Yeah, those little things at the end of the bum where the web comes out, right? And she's picking up with her legs at the end and sort of spinning them around the fly, and it's very cool to see. And I've seen it from bigger spiders, I guess, and stuff, but it's fascinating to see it at home in your own terrarium. And it's also sort of like spider kilometer zero approach. Why go and disturb a spider that lives in a very far away place, and well, and has probably a different environment from the one you're in. And just if you want to observe one of these things, you can sort of give a house to an abandoned spider near your house, sort of thing. You know, yeah. Anyways, but it was interesting watching the garden spider ravage this fly. And I think it took almost 2 days of feeding, but she keeps moving about and trying to find new spots to penetrate, to suck juices out of. And initially, yeah, the bottom was the main source, but I think she sort of moves up and at some point uses the eye, but finish this process. This fly is completely essiccated and just a sort of husk. But it's quite interesting, and this is mostly sort of why I was interested in this, or the original interest in, wow, look at that webbing of, and sort of seeing this stuff at zoom in or close in. But I would sort of hear that small spiders couldn't bite a human, and so I was curious to see how these claws are small and how they work and how they operate, and if they really could like pinch some skin or not, and so in these images, and especially when I start putting the camera in horizontal mode, You might notice at some points that the jaws are trying to claw into the fly, and in parts where it's too hard, it's slipping. It's not making an entrance. Apparently, in other places it does, but she does sort of need to work around and find soft spots and stuff. Yeah, but here's there's some drama in the jar, I guess. Other spiders moved around, and so she hunted them away from her prey. There's one living in the bell, if you can sort of see it, and there's another one on the bottom left of the bamboo. But she's pretty scary. The other guy in the bell managed to sort of push her away. She's still getting confident, I think. One of them got killed and eaten a couple of days ago. I'll show you those images as well. But I think the big spider killed it, and the smaller spider in the bell took advantage of it. But going back to this garden spider feeding on the fly, as I was telling you, it sort of looks for softer spots. So here, I think it hooks onto the eye. And you can sort of kind of see the jaws or claws making their way in. I have a light with display light with 3 different spectrums of light: blue, I think, blue, green, yellow. So I was testing if any of those were giving better detail. Coffee pause. So this image is supposed to show you that you can actually see some small little critters, very small little critters, crawling around and into or outside the fly. There's other clearer images later, but there's one sort of in the middle of the screen right above the leaf, and it's moving. In normal speed you can't really notice at first, but if you look properly and you see that white spot, it is moving around, and now it's going to go down and change direction. And it's not a drop of something. It's too small for me to guess. I'm not sure if it was coming out of the fly or if it came to the fly or whatever that was or happened. But in the meantime, you can see the jaws of the spider, even if not too on focus, making their way inside the carpus of the fly, I guess. But I think I moved at this point the jar in front of a window, so there was daylight and instead of artificial light, and I think that managed to catch a lot more detail, even if it did seem a little overexposed at first. As you can see, one of the eyes is sort of necrotized or not, or bleeding out, I don't know. The fly. And I'm trying to move the jar or move the camera in ways to catch more detail in light or not in shade. I'm particularly interested, of course, in trying to catch the jaws and penetrating the carpus and doing their work. But it was very difficult at this sort of size and with lights and with the tools I had. There's another spider trying to make its way closer, but as you saw before, she's not too inclined to share. And again, she's, I think, trying to find a new spot where there's more juices to be had. Sucking this thing completely dry. There you go, you can see her abdomen and how her legs, I think they're moved through fluid. I was pumping of fluid.